Welcome back to Hourglass Season 2, Episode 6. Y'all, this is still really hard for me to say Season 2. We've been playing in the server now for almost a month and a half, and it's still hard to believe that this is Season 2. I don't know why. I'll get it through my head eventually. But as you can tell, we are still in spawn. This is where we started last time, but I'm actually looking at the two buildings behind me this time to start with, and I have so much to go over this week that it's probably going to be a lot more of me talking. I apologize. I'm sorry. I like to be able to show you guys a lot of progress too. But there's just so many things that we've got going on. So the very first thing is more of that decentralized storage for the multi-item sorter. We are getting very close. I would say we have about 2/3 of the builds kind of prepped and ready to feed the multi-item sorting system out to the areas. But I've got a couple changes I wanted to make. Originally, this building here that sits on the rail tracks. We were thinking it would be a rail cart. Originally was the plan is to have like a big rail line here, but the way Blink did this, I absolutely loved. So he built a rail house here. And I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. I'm starting to lose track, y'all, of what I talk about in stream versus what I talk about in the episode. So I do apologize if I've mentioned it. But it totally blew my expectations in a different direction. So having this rail house here was really cool. And so I think what I did in my mind was Blank had just had a chest right there of like, I think it was just all the extra stuff from when he was building it, but it made me think we hadn't set up a place for rail item storage. So I was like, you know what better place than to put it in here in the rail house that goes over the like minecart line. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take a page out of Electra's book and do some dropper elevators so that we can feed these from down below in the like the water streams. I'll do the impulse sorter down much lower, and we'll feed the items up into these. So we've got regular rails, detector rails, activator rails, and powered rails. And then this one we won't be able to sort just because our multi-item sorter doesn't do non-stackables. But we'll be able to put any type of like minecarts, minecart hoppers, minecart chests, into this one. Minecart furnaces also, that's a thing. So we can, if for whatever reason we want to bulk store them, probably not. We'll just have just regular minecarts and then craft the other kinds. But I kind of set this out to mock up the idea of where the rails are going to be stored. And this build was originally supposed to be the end storage stuff. So, oh, I don't have it in my inventory. I set it down. I staged this so I could show you guys what I was thinking. I couldn't switch which direction that the end stuff comes out of the multi-item sorter just because of the way that, let's go over there. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this all. So we're going back to where I had planned out all the stuff. So the end stuff was a part of the agriculture slice. So these are all the agriculture items. And then the end stuff was in this slice. And so I couldn't change which area of the builds, like of the spawn area that end stuff goes. It would be very hard to, like, some of these are super duper full. So it would be very hard to switch which area in the multi-item sorter it went. So I was like, which build plot... Sorry, I know I've spent so much time punching beds. Which build plot would be the best for the end stuff? And actually, Max came up with a huge build for. He had put the build around where the spider farm, or like not the spider farm, sorry, the skeleton spawner drop was. So he put this build here, and he mentioned he was struggling with an interior on it. And I'm like, you know what? This is like right next door to where I was originally planning the end stuff. So if I make the quote end stuff storage into the rail stuff storage, sorry, I'm saying stuff a lot too. But if we make this the end storage, I asked Max if he would be okay with me changing some stuff up. So this is, I came in and I did a little bit of investigating. I cleaned up a little bit just so I could see what we were working with. And this totally is, this makes sense in my mind. I'll explain that in just a second. But then there's this whole nice, really beautiful second floor that is like nice and airy. And then here's the end zone stuff end stuff that I want to be able to sort. So a couple things, I switched the side of the stairs. The stairs were originally over there, but I want, if we store everything up on the second floor, I want to be able to, you know, access everything easy. So I moved the staircase over here. I'm not still sold on it. I still think we might do storage in the basement level, but I love the way this floor looks. It's so nice and bright and happy. But so I've got some ideas on if we either line the storage up on that side or on this bottom floor if we line the storage up along this wall. I'm not exactly sold there, but I wanted to come in and talk about, this is going to be a two-purpose build. So this calcite block right here is actually, if we go all the way down to, I think it's like Y60 or something. I don't remember the exact Y level. We're going to go down really far here. Oh, no, it's negative. The skeleton farm, or the skeleton spawner, is actually up there. I think because of the drop chute that we tried to make it AFKable. I spent a little bit of time up right next to it and was able to get skellies to spawn. But while I'm down here, I sat my account down here for like 5 minutes. I think we're too low. So to get I don't think we're in range to the spawner. I think it's up too high because this was set up as like a 20-something drop. And I think you have to be within 15 blocks of the spawner for it to register. So what I think I'm going to do, that calcite block, like I mentioned, is where the spawner exactly is. I mean, obviously not exactly. There's a calcite block there, not a spawner. But it's like the XY chords, just a different Y level. So what I'm thinking I might do is something like what I did with the creeper farm, where I have the drops in the corners. Although, wait, no. Thinking about that now, if this is... Okay, sorry. This is Zelda not thinking correctly. Because, yeah, the actual spawning room is around this. So I can't put my drops... Dang it! Okay, so Zelda has a couple more things to think about. I was going to put the drops in the corners, the water elevators, so then we could be closer to the spawner. But I wanted to bring you back so that I can show you this is one of the ongoing projects this week. And then the other one... I want to show you in creative before it gets too much more developed, so that we can see kind of like a in progress. So here's a before, and then we'll see the in progress, and then hopefully we'll get some actual blocks in game this week. This is one of the other projects we're doing. The cyan wool was roughly marking out where our finalized villager trading hall, quote, another thing in quotes, is going to go. It's not going to be just one big build this time. So in season 1, we had one big massive build with all the villagers in it. This time, what the server members have opted for is to do a actual market. So I had posted a screenshot idea kind of to give us just a rough template to work with, and Glorious Wolf has taken it and run. He got such a good start on our creative server as far... Oh, hi! They literally just popped into existence. Electra, are you still in Nether? I don't want him to be surprised by this. Okay. That's awesome. I wonder. Hold on. Wait. Come here, guys. Come back down. Fall into this hole. You should all go into the hole. At least the one with the banner went down there, so I can get these guys. Oh, I forgot I had flame. I wonder if I hit the one with the banner and it dies by flame, is it still by my... Like, do I kill it? Okay, so we'll just let those other guys stay in the... stay in the hole and despawn. But anyway, the idea was for a medieval market, and the reference image that we're working from has so many cool colors and different design shapes and roofs and builds. And then the other idea that came up from the discussion with the server members is that this hilltop here is going to turn into like a rail station, so that it can connect to the rail line that's going to go up there, and then this like kind of like gently sloping area here is going to be the pathway down into the main village like center here. So I think what we've got is some really cool ideas coming. Plus we're still in I took an arrow to the knee and the elbow. But we are still also working on the Nether Hub tunnel idea this month too. So we've got several things in line that I will be bringing you all back in for updates on. But let's go quick into creative, and I want to show you kind of the ideas that are starting for this area. And welcome back! Just like that, quick travel. It was like almost instant, right? Or very exactly instant. So this is what I was mentioning as far as the market, villager trading area. And this is kind of how I very much, like I mentioned, I very much appreciate Glorious Wolf taking the time between himself and Pants Are Nice on the server. They mocked out a bunch of this already, and usually I'm the one like setting up the shapes of builds and stuff, and so I kind of lose track of how easy it makes it for the other players, because when I came into the creative world and saw that there was like, you know, structure and kind of like an idea already going, I was like immediately inspired. So I want to say a big, huge thank you for the fact that this was a project that I could just come in. I started working on this one on stream, and we had several really cool ideas from chat, from the discussions we were having. And it's very, very, very rough. There's still a lot of details. Obviously, my interior is like non-existent. And a couple things about the creative server right now, we don't have world edit on there. Something happened in one of the updates, but like, for example, I wanted to take my whole build and push it back about 5, 6, 7 blocks or so, just to create some space here, because I started bringing the build outside of the build plot that was originally there. And then on the sides, we've basically got it all enclosed. And then the roof, I want to do, this is like a really rough mock out. But I want to do a bit of a gradient. In the reference picture, it's all just like one nice, like deep dark green color. It's kind of like, the terracotta and the concretes there. And, I wanted to brighten it up a bit. Plus, I also love the idea of using melons for building blocks. So I'm going to work on the gradient. I'm going to work on more of the details around the empty sides, and we're going to work on the interior this week. But I wanted to show kind of how, like, we've been using the creative server as a spot to like work together on an area, but so that we don't have to like worry so much about all of the technical aspects of like working in a closed space, making sure that we're not stepping on anyone's toes, for example. So like where I brought my build plot out, if I did that in the real server, it would start to look really cluttered. But in this one, we can take it with a grain of salt and be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And move it back a little. And then there was one other thing. Oh, I remembered. There's another green block that I wanted to try. Hold on. While we're here together, I can't remember what it was. I had this thought when I was waking up this morning. There was like, wait a second, I totally missed something. And I think it's something, one of the lime blocks. Yeah, it's this one. Lime terracotta. I didn't include it all, but I think it'll be a great, more medium tone. Yeah. Yeah, yo. Okay. All right. The only other block that was suggested to me when we were streaming, that we're probably not going to use, because if you don't have the texture pack that does the grass sides, that one looks a little funny. But I have seen people use grass effectively in builds. I just want to make sure that for anybody using vanilla texture packs like myself at the moment, until I get my resource packs reloaded, I don't want it to look like splotchy weird. So I think this is the combination of blocks that I'm going to use. And I'm going to leave you off here. Yeah. We gotta leave you off here. And I will bring you back for updates on either this project or the spider. I keep saying spider. The skelly house. Or there is another sneaky potential Zelda build cropping up. I know we've got the Lumberjack in progress, but Zelda is also got her eyes on this one. On the main server, I might maybe have marked out like an idea already. I'm just waiting to see if anybody else had wanted the plot. But I think this is definitely going to be a week of whoops. Oh, I fell. Okay, well, we'll do it from here. This is definitely going to be a week of Zelda building and playing around with ideas and creative, because I am starting to feel very inspired. So we will be right back. And welcome back from the time lapse, everybody. It's been a hot minute since I did a replay recording. It felt really good to get back to building and creating the replay for the Lumberjack. I had so much fun designing this build, and I kind of wanted to step through a few of the design features to kind of make this very unique color palette hopefully make a little bit more sense. So a couple of the first things that you'll notice is that it has accents of the warped wood, and that I picked up because we kind of have this unofficial kind of color palette going on around spawn, where a lot of the builds have turquoise in the build palette. So I was like, you know what, we're going to make sure that this build also has some of it, but I didn't want to rely very heavily on the warped wood, so I used it, and there's some prismarine up there for some differentiation. But I used it just as an accent, and then I also wanted to keep with the idea that there was some darker elements to the build, because a lot of the builds around spawn are also utilizing either blackstone or the deep slate. So I wanted to use that also, but I twisted it just a little bit, thinking that the Lumberjack is going to potentially be one of the oldest builds around spawn. So in my mind, what I've done is I made it so that it was netherrack instead of deep slate. There is a little bit of deep slate, like kind of as reinforcements around the build. But the deep slate, or the netherrack, I used as kind of the primary base for the dark blocks, just because I wanted it to be a little bit warmer, kind of like the shine and the polish and everything is worn off, and it's kind of older. To me, it looks older than like gray and shiny and new and modern, kind of, that the silver and the deep slate and the blackstone look. To me, I don't know what it is, but it also helps pull in the reds, the red tones from the copper and from the terracottas that we use too. So I feel like it plays very cohesively. Like, all the colors of the build look really cohesive in my eyes, but I know it's very unique. It's very different. And then with the supports, if you remember back a couple weeks when I first showed this in creative, the idea here was that the supports were like 3x3, but I had always intended to have a little bit of depth to them by having a wall texture in the middle. And hold up, I just saw, what is that? Hold on, I gotta talk about my inventory in a second too. Excuse me! I am not sus. What? I was told that there were signs everywhere. I hadn't seen any. That's because they're being sneaky with where they put them. Oh my gosh, I am so surprised I saw that. Oh my goodness. Okay, we will have to discover the culprit later, but I gotta stay focused. I gotta stay focused. Also, I just realized I'm missing a block there. That's what I get for trying. Oh, no, wait, I'm missing two. Okay, well, my bad. But the pillars, I wanted some depth to. And then all the way around the build, we put some of this glow lichen for some added texture, because terracottas are such a smooth block. They're so smooth. So I was trying to find a way to kind of give the bottom as much texture as I did the top, and I wasn't coming up with very many blocks that would match this. This is the light gray terracotta. So I settled on a little bit of the glow lichen, because I was able to put it on both the copper and the terracotta to help kind of really make the textures look more cohesive at the base. And then the reason I used the stripped birch and stripped oak on the top up there is because I thought it looked a lot like when plaster starts to get peeled away, like the smooth, nice finish of the plaster gets roughed up and it starts to get worn out. I thought that looked kind of like a really cool effect. So hopefully that makes a little more sense of some of those color choices. And then as far as accessing the build, there's a couple things for the interior that looked a little funny in the time lapse. I didn't have the blocks to do the water vader or any of this, so there was just this big hole on the floor. But we also have all of the wood moved over here now. I have yet to set my filters. But if you all remember back to when I showed the redstone back there, the top chest is actually the filter item. This bottom one is just for bulk storage. So I've got to go through and set the filters. But then the other thing, let's see, I have lots of blocks that I can jump around with. Let's go back here. The other hole in the floor, during the time lapse was back here. This is actually going to be where the items feed up into the item sorting station for this build. So they're going to come up here into the water stream, into the hoppers, and then like oh shoot, hold on. moving around in creative is a lot different than moving around in survival. I gotta take off correctly. But it's gonna sort out the actual blocks first, and then it's gonna go through this multi-item slice here. The final thing I'll say is that these are all of the sapling chests, obviously. Also, let's pick this up, since I was just using that to get back to the redstone. I don't know if I'm going to put the warts in here. They're designated for another sorting slice, but it does kind of, it left me kind of with an odd number of chests, but there's a wall back behind there, so this is all manual, which I figure is fine. We don't have to access saplings very often. And then the final thing I will say is that this is the Elytra platform, and yes, I did get very close to a couple of the other builds, so I appreciate Electra and Math Girls understanding that I was really hold on. I was really trying. Oh, okay. I was like, is that another one of those sus signs? Oh, okay. I'm getting distracted, but it's beautiful distraction. Look at this. Oh my gosh, Math Girl has been so busy. This is so cool. Oh, and she gave a little lookout. Okay. I'm officially so happy to get so distracted. She had said she put it up here, but I hadn't gotten up here to look yet. So I think that you do the farm inside of this. She said it takes a lot of bone meal. So I will have to get instructions from her on how to operate that correctly. That is too cute though. But I'm suspecting I know who used the turquoise sign, the warped wood sign. Yes, yes. Sorry, super distracted. I was mentioning how close I was to their build, with how big my lumberjack thingamabob actually ended up being. So I do apologize if we got super duper close. This is probably the closest I've ever built intentionally to someone. Especially with the Elytra, like, flying pad coming in that way. So, I mean, there's still plenty. Ouch. If you were any better of a flyer than me, there's still plenty of space to, like, actually access by Elytra. So it's not, and, like, to get away and out. So it's not too terrible bad. But this build is going to be left in creative stages for now. I'm not going to show anything about it this week because of my inventory. So as you've seen, we've got the server reset coming. I think I'm going to come back after the server reset and explain what some of this jazz is for. This might give it away a little bit. So I will be right back. And we're back from the server reset. Also, I should know better than to jump in a little tunnel. I wanted to show what this inventory of stuff is all about. I cleaned up the project area just a little bit so that it wouldn't look as messy and so that I could start getting some more build materials ready. But, ta-da! This is the idea that I had put together for the nether tunnels. So what it's meant to be, if anybody can recognize it just as I'm going along, it's meant to be as like a very kind of impressionistic city skyline. So the black glass is meant as the silhouettes of the city, and then the gradient behind there is the skyline. And what we're going to do is each nether tunnel is going to be colored differently. So we're going to have this blue tunnel, we're going to have a magenta and purple tunnel, we're going to have a yellow to kind of orange tunnel, and then we're also going to have lime green to green tunnel. And this is going to be pretty much the next couple weeks is finishing this, because between three of us, getting the materials and digging this out and building the tunnel was probably 2 hours. Solid work. There's a little bit of other stuff going on too, but most of the work here was in prepping the materials, coming out and digging and laying the tunnel. We did have a few deaths. There was some ghasts and skeletons involved, and now I'm probably stuck down here. Ignore the mess that is our early stage tunnels. Oh no. Oh no. Also, wait. That thing doesn't blow up in the nether. Okay, let's do this. I think I can get back. Aha! Here. Yes, we're fine. Totally not lost in the nether, like, right at spawn. Totally. Totally not lost at spawn. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say, and I'm sticking to it. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave off for this episode. And yet again, it is me running for a bed because I just can't stop myself. I'm so prepared. Let's leave off with the final look at the Lumberjack, which is what we are probably, I'm going to work on that after I sort out my inventory so that I can set those filters. So with that, I just want to say a big huge thank you from episode 6. Look guys, I remembered, it's episode 6. And thank you all for everybody who's been watching the series, is interested in the series or the server. I enjoyed sharing our experiences here. Bye!